we have some rare good news for everybody. Senate votes to save net neutrality rules. What? Okay. All right. So let me give you a little more information. 3 Republicans, Senator Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and John Kennedy of Louisiana, who's typically a horrendous vote. But on this one, he pulled through, and he joined every single Democrat, 49 Senate Democrats, to pass the bill 52-47. So what they did is they used this thing called the Congressional Review Act, which allows Congress to overturn a decision made by an executive agency, in this case the FCC. The FCC decided, let's scrap the net neutrality rules. And so Congress stepped in and said, no, we're going to override your decision to do that. So this now cleared the Senate. Now here's the bad news. Now, actually, let's dwell on the good news for just a second. A lot of people thought this is not going to happen. I think I was included in that. I did a segment about how we're close, we're right on the edge, we just need like one more vote or whatever it was. That last vote was John Kennedy of Louisiana. And credit to him, man. Me and him probably disagree on 99% of the issues, but this is one where, when push came to shove, he ended up doing the right thing. I don't know why, I don't care why, he just ended up doing the right thing. But there was a question as to whether or not it would even pass the Senate. Well, it did pass the Senate, and that's amazing news, that's great news. But, okay, now the bad news, it's going to the House of Representatives where we'll almost certainly die. Now, that really is sad news, because I think the numbers, something like 89% of the American people want to keep the net neutrality rules. And to give everybody the backstory on that, if you don't know it, which is incomprehensible at this late date, I'm sure most of my audience knows it. Basically, the idea is those rules keep equal access to every website on the internet. Whereas when you get rid of the net neutrality rules, that allows the ISPs, internet service providers, so whether you have Verizon or Comcast or what have you, Time Warner, is that the same as Comcast? I have no idea. If you get rid of the net neutrality rules, they get to determine if they want to slow up or slow down or speed up your access to different websites. And what people are concerned about, and they should be, is that you're going to have the internet service providers, basically demand money, bribes from different websites to put them in the fast lane. So you're only going to have the biggest name companies be able to pay that bribe to get the fast lane, and that it's just a giant bias against all companies that can't afford to pay that bribe, and then they get put in the slow lane, and then you end up, a lot of the sites that you love, that you want to go to, will be slow because they didn't pay their bribes, and because now we have an internet gatekeeper, the gatekeeper being the internet service providers. Whereas the way it worked when we had the net neutrality rules was everything is mandated by law to be treated equally. So it doesn't matter what website you go to, it has to be the same speed as any other website. That was the government mandating that internet service providers can't speed up or slow down, traffic to any website. So it's terrible to get rid of these rules. It's horrendous. But of course, the House of Representatives is majority Republican by a lot. And even though 89% of the American people are in favor of keeping the net neutrality rules, even though an overwhelming majority of Republicans are in favor of keeping the net neutrality rules, they're probably going to kill it. So, listen, man, people need to take action. I mean, I was retweeting it the other day. There's the phone number you can call to get in touch with your congressman or congresswoman and tell him or her, listen, you better do the right thing on this or we're going to organize, we're going to get you out. I think the only thing that has a prayer of working is just overwhelming massive public pressure where you scare people in Congress enough to think, no, you'll seriously lose your job if you don't do the right thing here. Because, listen, a lot of these Congress people take money from the internet service providers. So, of course, they're going to do the bidding of the internet service providers. The only thing that'll make them flip is if they really believe, I don't have a choice. I'm going to get kicked out of office if I don't do the right thing. So isn't it beyond pathetic that we can have an issue where 89% of the American people agree, and then we have to fight our own government? We have to fight our own government to not do the bidding of the 11%, but to do the bidding of the 89%. Because in reality, they're not even representing that 11%. They're just representing the moneyed interests. Because my guess is the majority of that 11% that's against this doesn't even know the issue properly. They don't even understand the issue properly. They think like Obama fucking had tyranny over the internet and then, Trump came in and got rid of the tyranny or something like that. So whoever understands this issue correctly knows this isn't even a partisan issue. This is just like, hey, do you want to have the internet the way it's been, or do you want to make it worse? That's really what this boils down to. So credit to the Senate for doing the right thing here. And the House is almost certainly going to fuck this up. And then, even if it gets through the House by some miracle, and it would be a miracle, then it goes to Donald Trump's desk. What do you think Donald Trump is going to do? Listen, man, all it takes is one meeting with one lobbyist, and Trump comes out on the wrong side on every issue. This happened with pharmaceutical drugs. Bernie had been talking about, we got to lower the price of drugs in this country. We have to do it. We have to do it. We have to do it. He had a plan to do it. Re-import drugs from Canada. So Canada pays about half what we pay for pharmaceutical drugs, and it's the same drugs. So Bernie's idea is, okay, let's re-import it from Canada, and then we'll cut the price in half. And, a lot of people supported what Bernie did. Trump was on the campaign trail back before he was president, talking about we gotta lower the cost of these drugs. We have to do it. Unbelievable. And then he gets elected. It took one meeting with one pharmaceutical lobbyist, and he flipped. And he said, no, we're treating the pharmaceutical companies unfairly. What the fuck are you talking about, man? So that's all it took. All it takes is one bullshit argument to sway this vapid, vacuous, empty-headed buffoon, and then he's reliably on the wrong side. So that's the concern, is even if it gets through the House, which would be a miracle, well, then we need to somehow get Donald Trump to sign the fucking thing, and that's going to be damn near impossible. So, but now listen, I go after the Democrats a lot, and they deserve it, okay? And I'm going to continue to do it, because they're so wrong about so many issues, and they're the Republican light party. They're not fighting for the people. They're fighting for the people 10% more than the other party, which is like being the tallest kid in kindergarten. It ain't that goddamn impressive. But when they're right, and you got to give them credit. Every single Democrat in the Senate was on the proper side of this issue. Every single one. Now, in the House, my guess is pretty much every Democrat's going to be on the right side. And if they aren't, if there's some that aren't, I'll be the first one to come out here and rail against them. But what's likely going to happen is it will be the fault of the Republicans in the House, and it will definitely be Donald Trump's fault. So just so you know who's your enemy on this issue, because it's crystal clear, and what they're doing is, make no mistake about it, telling 89% of the American people to fuck off. That's what they're doing. And they're destroying the internet in the process. But the fight's not totally over. And, if you want to get involved, call your congressperson and let them know we're not fucking around here. You better vote the right way or your career is over.